Well, we did it again. We got another boat. This is probably like the worst time to work on a boat. I have a heated garage here, but it's winter. And outside there's like a foot of snow. So I'm not going to be able to do a lot of work outside painting and stuff. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this thing. But here it is. Let's take a look at it. And this one just kind of fell into my lap thanks to my buddy John. He bought this boat, and he bought it this past year. And I actually saw this boat when he brought it home. It was black, and he was planning on redoing everything in here and building it out. And the other day he said he didn't want to mess with it anymore, and he gave me a good price and I bought it. He did some work to it. He actually had the whole thing sandblasted, got all the paint off of there. I think he did some stuff with the trailer, new strap, did the bearing buddies, new hubs. I mean, the trailer is actually really nice. Nice galvanized caravan trailer. The boat is a 14-foot V-hull, obviously. It's a Starcraft. I think Patriot is the model. And the cool thing, the reason I bought this was because it is a fully welded hull. There's no rivets in this at all. It's all welded, thicker gauge aluminum than like the last boat that we did. A lot of these 14-footers are riveted boats and they're pretty thin. My plan with this is to build it out and basically flip it. I'm probably going to use it some in the spring. Maybe we'll try to troll with it a little bit. The boat I did the last video on, the Krylon Killer, I put a lot of work into that, and I ended up just selling it actually a few weeks ago. Now, I spent so much time on that boat and I put a lot into it. I don't even know if I made much money on it, to be honest with you. So this one here, I got to be a little bit more careful. I'm saying that this is going to be a budget build, but in reality, I'm probably going to have to buy some stuff. For the most part, I'm going to try to use what I have for parts and pieces and try to keep the budget down so we can make some profit on this boat, because my goal is down the road here, I want to buy a new boat. I don't want to spoil it what the boat's going to be, but I want to buy a new boat. And you guys will have to find out down the road. I don't know when it's going to be. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but you never know. You can tell it had pour foam up in there. And you guys know, you've heard the story time and time again, that pour foam soaks up water, gets waterlogged, and then adds weight to your boat. What the guy did was cut out the floor, and he dug out all of the pour foam. When my buddy brought it over to show me the day he bought it, he had these diamond plate covers that the guy kind of made, and he just laid them on top and riveted them, which seemed to work pretty good for that. These are original to the boat, so those go on top of that to cover those big holes up. My idea for this boat, because it's a V-hull, we live in the Northeast, like the last boat, we're going to kind of center it around hunting and fishing, like trolling, maybe a little bit of bass fishing too. But if you guys have ever seen the Lund Alaskans, that's kind of what I'm going to model this after. Those are made for hunting, like duck hunters and trolling and stuff. They're a pretty rugged boat, nice deep V boats, and that's what this is here. Is fully welded hull, nice deep boat, super solid. So with the Lunds, they have a flat floor all the way to the front. There's usually not much of a casting deck, if any. And then I'm going to try to put pedestal seats in here. We're going to build a spot back here for some storage. I'm doing a build series on this, so there's going to be a playlist here. If you're watching this is the first video, make sure you go check out the playlist on my channel if you want to see the rest of the videos related to this boat build. And all the products that I use in this video will be linked in the description below for you guys to find them. So with that being said, I did get a bunch of stuff John gave me that he bought for this boat. Here's the aluminum that came off from the floor. He gave me some aluminum pieces to kind of start working with. This is the old casting deck from the front. It's super tiny. You can see it was up in here. It's like almost pointless to even have that. I'd rather just, I think, just continue this deck and stop it, and then we'll have a bigger bow plate here. He bought brand new seats, which are actually really nice, so I will be using those, and brand new pedestals. Some aluminum pieces he had bent here for some stuff that I might use or might cut up and use somewhere else. The old bench seat that went on the front. Some lights and electrical stuff. The hatches that went in there. And I don't know, just some parts and pieces. So we'll pick through that. I do have a lot of stuff left over from the other boat build stuff that I've done. So we'll see if we can use up some of that stuff. We got to find a trolling motor. I got to find a motor for this. It doesn't even have a motor on it. Anyway, I guess we're going to start into this thing. I don't even know what to do first. And I'm going to address the trailer first. As you guys can see, it's not really sitting. It's kind of tipped up a little bit. I don't know what's going on. After that, I'm gonna take this all apart, clean out all this junk in here, figure out how we're gonna make all this work. All right, this trailer definitely didn't come with the boat. It was kind of wonky, honestly, but this is kind of maxed out here. I got that set up right where I want it. I can't really go much higher, so that's where that's gonna go. That wheel's kind of weird. It's upside down, but that's how it's gonna have to fit. There's clearance, and it's sitting flat on the bunks, so I left a little bit of a gap out the back so you can see the bunks sticking out. So that should work pretty good. I guess I'm gonna get in here and clean out all these foam chips, vacuum it out, and we'll see what we're working with here. Alright, it's starting to come together in my mind what I want to do here. I've just been sitting here looking at this thing. I can't figure out what my next steps are because every time I think of something, something else needs to happen before that. Kind of a mess, but I'm trying to figure out this back seat just so I can maybe start getting that together and order the hatch that I need for that. I slept on it. I worked on it a little bit yesterday. Basically for this video, what I need to do is get this boat squared away. I gotta wrap up all of the internal stuff, kind of get stuff framed out, get this floor put back together, kind of get everything where I want it so we can paint it, basically. One thing I really need to do is get these floors figured out. So my turf will stick to this side. So that's the side that's gonna be up. But what I'm gonna have to do is lay that on top of here because it's bigger than that, and then trace the outline of this cutout and then fit it into there and frame it out like what's been started to be done here. Alright, so I'm getting there. I got all of these floors cut out. They're not hooked in yet. I gotta brace all this up and put foam underneath them, but I got them all cut out. I gotta figure out how we're gonna hook this middle piece back in. This was actually underneath here. The guy had taken it out, but I'm gonna put it back in and slide it all the way forward and probably notch it a little bit so it can support our floor addition here. And then I gotta zip these little tabs off and build out a little floor to go there. And then I think we can start kind of buttoning this stuff up and we can get this thing painted. Trying to use up all the pieces of material that I have and not waste anything, and try not to buy as much stuff as possible. But there's the old front deck here. I didn't really want to weld that back. Like I said, we're gonna make the Alaskan style flat floor utility style boat. So I took the hatch out of it, and I think I might be able, if I cut this right here And I might be able to use this piece up here, trim it a little bit. It's already almost the exact shape that I need. Notch this out a little bit to fit around there, and I might be able to use that right in there. That would be sweet if I could do that. Alright, so I'm about ready to start hooking these floors down and bracing this all up, making this nice one level piece of floor here so we can turf it down the road. But I gotta make a couple more cuts and make a mess, and then I can vacuum it all out and put these in. What I want to do is have access to these little side panels here. They're not really big enough to have a hatch up here. I mean, they are, but I'd have to have something custom made, and there's really just not a lot of room. I mean, 7.5 inches there, and that doesn't leave much of an opening to put stuff down in when you figure, you know, framing and then the hinge for the hatch. So what I want to do is put a hatch on the outside here, and then we have access to all of this to put life jackets and whatever else you want to put in there. There'll be quite a bit of room. This side will be shorter. I'm going to have the electronics and stuff back here. We'll block that off, but this side will have all full access here. It's about 7 feet. So and what I think I'm going to do with that is use some of these plastic hatches you can get off Amazon. This is the only hatch that I could find that was the right size to fit here. It's a 2-foot hatch. It's made by Seaflow. I'll link it down in the description below. I don't really like using these, especially on the deck like this that you're going to be stepping on. I used one of these in the last build that we did. But if you guys are going to have a hatch in the floor, you really should get like a really nice flush mounted aluminum one, because these ones stick up quite a bit and you trip over them and they're just a pain. But where I think these things actually work good is on a vertical surface here like this, because you're not stepping on it, and it doesn't need to be extremely durable. These are still pretty durable, and they don't get the abuse that walking on them would. And I think for the price, you know, that's a good option there. So I'm gonna figure out where exactly I want to put those. I got one for each side. I'm gonna mark them out, and we're just gonna cut the opening there, make a bunch of mess cutting that, and then we'll vacuum up all that stuff and start putting our floors down. Okay, so I've used up pretty much all of that diamond plate. I used all the scrap pieces to basically line the insides of these little, what are gonna be storage things. It doesn't look pretty on the inside, but I cut them to fit so they go right down to the bottom here, because this was actually open into this section. So now this is kind of closed off. You can see it's kind of random widths. I just made it fit, riveted them together. You'll never really see it until you open the door. I mean, it's on the inside, but it just keeps all your stuff from falling down into the bilge area. So now I'm gonna work on putting some foam in these openings. I'm not gonna do pour foam. I think it's stupid. It's probably stupid to do anything, but I probably should put something here. So I'm gonna put some foam board in there and then put those floors on, hopefully. I need to get these floors done. I'm sick of crawling all around in these holes. I'm to the point where I can put this floor back together. Now I gotta do this whole other side. on the floor, I'm using these flush mount rivets. I'll link them down in the description below. You gotta kind of chamfer out the hole a little bit with this tip. I'll link that down below. And it makes it so these sit flush with the metal on the floor, so when we turf it, there won't be a bunch of bumps and stuff. So glad to have that one done, but I gotta do the same thing on the other side now, and it's gonna be probably even worse. Is it perfect? No. There's some gaps, and I knew that was gonna happen because the guy who cut this floor out didn't cut it straight. I tried to get it as good as I could by tracing underneath, but I was cutting it with a cutting wheel, so it's not perfect. There's some gaps, but there's also gaps here in this centerpiece. I mean, there's gaps all over the place, so it's just the turf will cover that. I may run over this with like some seam seal to like level it out and seal those gaps up a little bit. I want the water to be able to go down into the belly of the boat anyways and out to the bilge pump, so it doesn't really matter that much. It's just I want to make sure the turf that we put down lays nice and flat over this stuff. So if we have a big gap, I might try to seal it up. Well, I gotta start working on this side. I don't know how much of that I'll show you. I do have to frame up a little piece here to where the seat's gonna go, and I gotta figure that out. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. All right, so I got where the seat's gonna be all framed out. That'll drop down in there, and reinforce this a lot. Put some vertical pieces in there so the weight and the torque from sitting on this forward and backward won't come undone. So that'll sit there and screw right into those pieces. They doubled up all the aluminum there, super thick, so that should be good. Now I just gotta finish framing out the rest of this and get this floor in. I'm just gonna cut right to that because it's the same thing that we did on this side. It's just gonna take a while. It's not fun to watch, not fun to do, so let me get that done. Alright guys, this has taken a long time because I've been kind of working on the boat intermittently, but I got it to where we're kind of back to square one and we can start really kind of building this boat out and seeing some actual progress. Give you guys a look of it here. It's not pretty, but we got it back to kind of baseline here so I can start building it out. You can see I got the floors all done. Those are riveted in. These are going to be hatches that were here. This will be the bilge. We got our openings cut for the hatches that we're going to have. You can see we got our hole for our pedestal seat, and we extended the bow here up in here, so now we got one nice level floor, and I'm happy with it. I haven't really spent any money on materials yet, so we've kind of just been using up what we got, and that's kind of the goal for this build, is do a little bit of a budget build but also make it nice, because we're going to end up spending money on some stuff later on, so I'd rather not spend it right now if I don't have to. So I'm going to end the video off here for this part. This was kind of like just an intro to the boat, show you guys what we got, what we're working with, get it back to square one, and the next video will be us actually building some stuff on here. I'm going to build the bow plate, which you might have seen a little piece of that already, but we're going to build that out. We're going to have a nice big kind of casting deck here, a bunch of storage underneath. Make sure you guys subscribe because this is going to be a cool build, something that you guys can definitely do yourself. If I can do it, so can you. It's a little rough looking on the inside, but when we get it done, it's going to be sick. So next video, bow plate and the rear deck, that's going to be a big job. And once we get that done, we're going to paint this thing. And haven't really decided what we're going to do for paint, but you guys are going to want to see it. It's going to be pretty cool. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.